Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Buildin' Big with City Skylines episode 58. I'm Enigmius and today we're wrapping up our isolated district experiment. We've pushed it to the extent that I'm willing to push it, which is not necessarily a bad thing. And we're just going to do a quick review of what we've discovered. I went ahead and I de-zoned all of the residential in this area here. Before I did that, I checked all of the educational properties of the central city. There's no schools of any kind in this district, or this district. All of the schools right now are in here. We got elementary schools, we got high schools, we have a university. We mentioned in the last episode we disabled the university. It's still disabled, but I wanted to make sure that the high schools weren't causing a problem, because you never know when it's going to be one of those crazy, creepy high schools that's educating too many people. They've got too much room for students. They start doing the distance learning, whatever it takes to get the people in the isolated districts educated, and then things go to hell. So I went through and I reviewed all that. You can see this is a disabled high school in the midst of our big city. This is our university that's been disabled. The rest of the schools in here, looks like we got, is that a high school or is it, yeah, another high school been, that's not even disabled. What's the problem down here? Oh, good. The elementary school is turned off. That was part of our wave. We did that. We showed that in the last episode. What we did with the elementary school is basically the same thing. Is disabling schools so that the demand was much higher than what we were able to accommodate, and the idea that the closest buildings would get serviced first, and then maybe the districts wouldn't get any education at all because they're the farthest ones away, and the schools just didn't have the capacity to do anything for them. That turned out to be not the case. Went over here, we de-zoned all of the residential, let it run so that the buildings all went away. The idea is we're sending away all the people. We're saying all of you are too well educated for what we're trying to do here. Get out. Get out. You're not allowed to build houses here anymore. They all left, and then we rezoned it for residential, and we came back, and you could see we're having a little bit of difficulty staffing the existing forestry buildings. Things weren't quite this bad in the last episode. They were a little bit better. We had a little bit easier time keeping the building staffed. But for a second, did I just see? Yeah, I did. I just saw there's apparently no water up here. What the hell is wrong with you people? Oh, we didn't zone any water for this part of town. That's probably a good reason for why people aren't in a rush to build there. As far as that, the impact that will have on this little experiment is really not significant. You might think maybe if we had water going there, things would be different. Not really, because we're not worried about whether or not there was enough space for people to move in, or whether or not they had enough water. We're worried about whether or not the education levels that they had were in line with what was needed. So we come down here, and we make sure that we're not selecting anything here. We look at a building like this that's saying it doesn't have enough workers. All of the workers that it has are highly educated. It's got 2 highly educated workers and anything else. All they want is 16 uneducated workers to come in and prune trees and water trees and cut down trees. You come over here, that's abandoned for not enough workers. Yeah, not enough workers. What about this guy over here? They want 12 uneducated workers. They've got 1 well-educated, 1 highly educated. This is after we've disabled the university. We've made it so that there's too much demand for the high schools for them to service the entire city. And we've removed all the elementary schools from the districts and de-zoned to send everyone from the residential areas away. Rezoned it to bring new people back. And immediately they're showing up well-educated and highly educated. Now, one of the things that makes these experiments kind of interesting and a little bit challenging, and also from reading comments through the series so far, is it's very easy to get caught up in the idea that everything is going to work the way it would work in the real world, which is not the case. And that's kind of the thing that we're looking to find out a lot of times is this an actual relevant model simulation of what things do in the real world, or is it kind of an analog to make it seem like it's working the way it would in the real world, but in reality It's not. There's a bunch of shortcuts that have been taken. There are a bunch of assumptions that are being made sort of on behalf of various different systems so that things run more smoothly and faster. There's all kinds of reasons why these aren't going to be exact models of the way the real world works, because if it were, we would never get any people in these districts because there's no way to get people into the district. Maybe they would come in trains as hobos, and they would just kind of hop off of the cargo trains as they pull into the station, or maybe not even wait that long, maybe just jump off them when they're going over the river, have a bit of a swim, and then show up in their suit and tie applying for a job that they're grossly overqualified for. I don't understand exactly what the mechanics are, and that's okay. I don't have to. All I know is, as far as isolated districts being a solution to the education problem that we had in our last city, basically the same as what we're seeing here, our people are too highly educated to work in the industrial sectors. They don't want to work there, and if given the opportunity, they will go somewhere else to work. We've kind of run this one into the ground. Now, there are a number of questions that a person might want to ask, if you were modeling this kind of experiment yourself and you wanted to go a little bit deeper. One of those would be, what would happen if you were just de-zone the entire area, disable all the services so they're not, costing you money while they're not actually servicing anything, and then just let it sit there for a while. Make sure that there's no residual peoples. You never know. It could be a thing, it could not be a thing. Get rid of all the people, get rid of all the businesses, get rid of all the industrial works. Let the area sit for a little while and then come back and then rezone it thoughtfully with the schools disabled and demand shuffled around so that it's less likely that these people are going to have an opportunity to get an education because all the schools will be full. That could be a worthwhile project. At this point, I've already de-zoned this district twice, and also this district twice, and the end result is the same. I think this one was actually doing a better job of painting the picture of what's kind of not working here. Oh, that's right. This is what it was. They want 4 workers. They want 4 uneducated workers. They've got 4 highly educated workers. They want people who barely know how to spell their name. They've got PhDs. It's not exactly the kind of scenario that is ideal for this thing. They want 6 workers. They've got 5. They're all highly educated. And this is another area that I completely de-zoned, let all of the residential buildings disappear, and then rezoned residential with the schools set up as they currently are. Everyone is too well educated, and it makes a lot of instability in the grand scheme of things. Here's a guy saying he doesn't have enough workers. He's only got 1 worker, and they've got a PhD. They've got a demand for 6, and there are, what you're seeing, it's not even so much about how many highly educated workers we have, it's that there are no uneducated workers at all. We're not seeing anywhere in the city, and that's kind of where you look at it and you say, okay, well, there's something going on here. There's nothing that I'm going to be able to do that is going to shape the city in a way that's going to allow me to control the education levels anywhere. What I think happened, if we were to try and put one basic sort of thing at the top of the list of the reasons why this is what I think happens is, as soon as you place a university anywhere in the city, whether it's active or not, it changes the dynamic of things and makes the city shift towards the office sort of preference. They would rather have office jobs. They would rather be working in labs and classrooms and, offices, all these, boardrooms, all these places where intelligent people go to make money. That's where they want to be. And they don't necessarily want to be climbing trees and limbing them and doing all these things that you would do in a tree farm. And they don't necessarily want to be shoveling pig shit and cleaning up after the horses like you have to do in an animal farm. And they definitely don't want to be over here working in the smeltery where their face melts twice a day, every day for 35 years. It's not a goal of theirs. So I think we've pushed it far enough that we can say if it's going to happen, it's going to be a very detailed, micromanagement oriented thing, or it could be one of those things that's just one key detail that we're overlooking, that we're missing, that if we had changed one thing, everything would have worked. But we're too far in to mess around now. So we're going to change things up a little bit. I like this idea of the isolated districts, if not for a functional purpose in terms of controlling one aspect of the population in this area so that it's different from this area, but just because it looks kind of neat. And if we do it properly, it could continue to look kind of neat through the whole process of creating a very large city. So I'm going to make some adjustments to our assets so that they fit together a little bit better, and make sure that we're getting as much coverage out of the maximum zonable tiles as we can, so that we can get as much space as we can out of using these assets. And then we'll be back in the next episode, and we'll be talking about our plans, what we're going to do with these districts. I don't expect that all of these districts are going to remain just for the time being, because if we don't have an actual purpose for them, and if they're not working the way they're supposed to, they're actually just costing us money keeping all the services running for the district. We're better off to just dezone it, disable all of the buildings, and then either move the buildings to new districts as we make them, or re-enable the buildings when we get there to work on that specific district again. So one little experiment is done, and we're going to be on to some new stuff in the next episode. Like I said, we're going to keep this city. We're just going to shift things around a little bit. We're going to do the isolated districts for appearances only, and we're going to see how it goes. So if you want to be notified about that episode, the easiest way, of course, is to subscribe to my channel or follow me on social media. Links for social media always in the information box below the video. Leave your comments and feedback on this episode or on the experiment as a whole, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.